Hey, lovely campers, it's Catherine here with from Sacred Heart Alchemy and Divinely Inspired Feminine Leaders. So, what a topic we have tonight for our campfire. This prompt is so long, but I have to say I love it. I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with it, but there's a lot of ground to cover, so stay tuned. So, the prompt is I can't promise anything because I'm not God. I'm going to interject here. I do identify as a goddess, but I am not God. However, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you every single day that consciously creating the life that you really truly want for yourself is possible for you. And here's why. So, like I said, this is a really far-ranging, far-reaching, juicy, scrumptious topic. And I have sort of spoken to it already in all the other campfire stories. So without notes or, anything sort of determined, I want to see where spirit sort of drops me in to where to go with this prompt and this campfire story. Whew. And so what's really important for you to know is that you are so much more than this physical body, this earth suit, right? This shell that your soul, your spirit came into form through, that has allowed you to operate in this third dimensional, dense energy of planet Earth. But in fact, your soul is eternal. This body is not. It will serve you here for a period of time. That period of time will be based on whatever it is that your soul chose to experience in this lifetime. I've often talked about the lessons and the lessons we're here to learn, but I really want to let go of lessons because I really think it's just what your soul wanted to experience as all of the potentiality of being in a body. And yes, you may have chosen particular family system, economic situation, racial, cultural, a certain body type, right? Maybe coming in with some challenges right from the get-go. So there may be lessons learned along the way, transcending the earthly experience into the soul experience of just everything is learning, everything is information, everything is growth, everything is perfect. But from our human experience, right, there's the ego experience and there's the soul experience. So the ego wants to keep us safe and alive, right? That's the primary goal. It wants to make sure things are orderly and that they make sense and that we put things in category and we judge good or bad or right or wrong or black and white or old or young, whatever all of the ways that we separate experiences and people and things out into categories. And the ego is very much concerned with striving and getting ahead and proving your worth and accumulating, the best looking partner or the home or the motorcycle or the car or the RV or the whatever it is, right? The ego has a very different agenda, let us say, than the soul. And the ego is also operating within the time and dimension of this earth plane. So there's a sense of urgency, there's a sense of rushing through, which doesn't allow us to relax a lot of the time and really just be in our space, right? The ego is much more about doing, whereas the soul is eternal. There's no rush. And there's nothing to prove. It's just everything is an experience. Everything is learning. Everything is exactly what it is. There's no judgment about right or wrong, good or bad, up or down, left or right. It simply is. The soul is content with being, right? Being present, being conscious, being aware, being tuned in, not always needing to go, 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 or do, do, do. So what was the prompt again? I forgot. Oh heavens. So, but, oh yeah, what I would be remiss in not letting you know is how powerful you truly are. As we move through this earth experience and remember, put back together, right? Members, parts. We put back the parts of ourselves that are our true, authentic self. When we come into this earth plane with the density, we forget who we are, right? As star beings, as souls, right? As multidimensional beings who have had many, many, many experiences through many dimensions, many time frames, right? Many lifetimes. We sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? When you lose your memory. Well, you lose your memory. Forget. All of that, all of the truth of your multidimensional beingness. And you think you are this body in this experience, living this story that defines you, and that's all you are. And that is very far from the truth, my dear. That amnesia, just remember the word, thank you very much. That amnesia is temporary. And as you go through life, and now we are in such a powerful period of awakening, right? This has been foretold for many, many, many years because we're in this 26,000 year cycle, and we're in a particular part of the universe where there's a tremendous influx and influence of photon light energy that's landing on the planet and within each of us in our own cells, right? And this light energy is forcing everything that has been in the dark, in the shadow, everything that's built from greed or power over or anything less than love, forcing it to the surface so it can be revealed and then healed. It's happening in all our institutions right now. I don't have to tell you that. You see it every day if you watch the news, but you can't get away from it because it's everywhere. I would recommend staying as far away from it as possible because honestly, it just takes your energy into a really low vibration. But we are not those stories. We are not that limited version of ourselves. You are not the story of your abuse or your abandonment or your illness or your parents' addiction or the situation that you grew up in. That's not the truth of who you are. That's an experience, a set of circumstances that you had in this life experience. And as we're all beginning to awaken now, some of us have been on this path, for quite some time, probably through many lifetimes, and others are new to this energy of awakening. They're just starting to see like triple and quadruple digits or synchronicities, thing happening in threes. They're noticing patterns. They're perhaps beginning to feel goosebumps or energy moving through their body. They might read something that feels so familiar to them. This is what happened for me, almost 30 years ago. I would be reading something and it's like, oh my God, I know this, but I didn't know how I knew it. But it was such a beautiful confirmation for me that, okay, I'm reading a lot of different authors, and some are blogs and some are books and some are posts online and some are astrological readings and whatever it is. And even though they each have a different point of view, the basic information was the same. And it's the information that I'm sharing right now, that we are not just these bodies in this earth suit, that there is a much larger multidimensional process going on, that the earth is in this process of ascension into higher energy, higher vibration, and we are going along with her. What we were taught to believe in school about having two strands of DNA is not actually the truth of us as multidimensional beings. Our blueprint, our divine blueprint, is actually 12-strand DNA, and 10 strands got dumbed down, sort of cut off, blocked, suppressed when we came into this density. And that's why we're not all in touch with all our clairs, right? Our clairvoyance, our clairsentience, our claircognizance, our clairgustience, our what else am I missing? Gnosticism, our clear knowing and feeling and touching and smelling, right? And seeing. All of those will start to come more online for you as you begin this awakening process, and the light will and the patterns and the geometries will begin to trigger the activation of your 12-strand DNA, which will then begin to communicate with your human DNA, and you'll start the upgrade. You may have heard we're shifting from carbon-based to crystalline-based. This is what we're talking about. So I know I really just went off. I had no idea I was going to go that far, but I did. So there it is. Now you have it. Now you know what I really believe about what's going on. But the good news about that, the really good news about that is, even though it looks like we're going to hell in a handbasket, everything's going to shit, the truth is, it is, because all of those corrupt systems of the patriarchy, right? All of the greed and the power over and the get ahead at whatever cost has got to fall apart. It's got to crumble away. It's got to collapse so that something new and different and better and more equitable, and where the masculine and the feminine energy are supporting each other. It's not one over the other. It's a beautiful balance of the masculine and feminine energy that's within all of us, which we then begin to ground into the collective, into the planet. So I believe that everything we're seeing falling apart is actually part of a much larger plan. And we will come out the other side of this a much more compassionate, loving, creative, balanced, joyful, gracious, grateful humanity on the other side, all in touch with our higher dimensional capabilities that are not always available to us in this 3D density. So let go of your story because it doesn't define who you are. Believe that whatever has taken place in your life, however intense, terrible it's been, that you can heal the energetic, the emotional, the mental, the physical, and come into your fullness as a multidimensional being. There's so much power in recognizing that your thoughts shifting from fear and worry and shame into joy and appreciation and gratitude and compassion and care for as little as 17 seconds, as Bruce Lipton says in The Biology of Belief, as little as 17 seconds of shifting out of the heavy, dense energies that run caustic chemistry through the body into higher vibrational frequencies that run healing and soothing and nurturing energy through the body. Literally holding that in mind for 17 seconds starts to change what's going on inside your cells. Just think about that for a minute. 17 seconds of conscious change of your thought process, and then the emotions that are connected to it will begin to change the markers inside your cells. Think of the implications for that physically, mentally, emotionally. 90% of all dis-ease experienced by people is a result of stress and what that does to the body. Only 1% is about genetics. The others might be about accidents or, but 90% of doctor's visits are stress related. If you can learn to manage your thoughts and your emotions, to process the energetic imprints of old trauma, you can literally recreate your life, remember the truth of who you are, and know that you have unlimited potential. It's possible if you believe it's possible. And the more of us who believe, the stronger it creates that field in the collective, and then even more is possible. I remember years ago reading something with Abraham Hicks where Esther Hicks said, the reason you can't replace a limb that's been cut off is because not enough of you believe you can. Because we actually can. So when enough of us believe, then what's available to us is just beyond even our imagination, right? So that's probably enough for the answer to the question about I would be remiss if I didn't tell you this. Little poetry there on the end. All right, have a beautiful evening. Tomorrow may be our last campfire story, so be there or be square. All right, have a good night.